Hey YouTubers, Patron here. Yeah, it's February 2020. I wanted to give a quick shout out. I uploaded this autobiography of my daughter's murder 6 months ago, and it had 1 view, so um, it was definitely being suppressed by the YouTube algorithm. But I want to give a shout out to two people. One's still around, the other, unfortunately, has left this mortal coil. But Spike Timmons of the Indiana Freedom Talk Network did a radio interview of me about 3 years ago, and at the time I had funds to be able to sponsor him a little bit, but it takes guts and courage to go against monolithic evil like the Masonic Lodge, and at the time we didn't know all we know now, but Spike Timmons, wherever you are, bro, I appreciate you stepping up to the plate and helping me out with this. And then another site that's struggling because they're all for the right to expose the evils of all of the systematic corruption going on is Henry and Laura Shively from a site called From the Trenches World Report. You guys, if you want to know the truth, I mean, he's not kind of like me, kind of like a bull in a china shop. Um, uh, he's not going to lather it up and make it feel good or round the corners off for you. He's going to get in your face and tell you the truth about what's going on. And they were nice enough to put a shingle out on my daughter's murder and get some exposure. So, Henry and Laura, for what you did, for your courage, for everything else that you've done, thank you. Hopefully one day when I get my finances back in order, I'll be able to help you out. Hopefully it won't be too late by then. But when you go up against these evil sons of bitches, they will do everything to try to pull your financial floor mat out from under you. I've seen it with Henry and Laura. I've seen it in my own case. I've had two businesses, very successful online businesses, destroyed once they found out about them, thanks to a duplicit, backstabbing Judas ex-brother that is dead to me now, Charles Gerard Reese. Anyway, I'm gonna try to make this short. There's so many atheists now. I want to clarify and exemplify the fact that there's no way that I could have made it through 22 plus years worth of passive harassment. Uh, you know, they try to murderize you, or they try to get you to commit suicide, one or the other. Um, you know, they came against my family, told them all kinds of fake news, fake lies, and rumors, this, that, and then they flash a real polished up fancy badge to get to underscore their foundation of lies. So that's what you're up against, people, when you're dealing with this system. And I intend to fully expose every single tangential attack against me and all of the people involved in the attack on my family, on me, on my businesses, and most especially when they went after my daughter. You know, yeah. You guys need to know that police officers are what they call standing armies. They belong to private corporations with a private charter. They are the security force for that charter. There is no constitutional method or disposition for their existence, which means they are an illegal standing army. So, be respectful of them, but once you learn the truth, do what you have to do. You got to stand up for the truth. You got to stand up for your rights. You got to exercise them like a muscle or they waste away. I intend to rout out and expose all the bad cops that I've come to know, that I went to for assistance, and that sat on their ass, sat on their hands during all of the tumult and the quiet war that was hatched upon me back in 1987. You know, I'm all for this. Get rid of all the fire all the bad cops and their bad supervisors. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen because the good cops sit with their mouths shut and their hands sit on their hands, while the bad ones get promoted up into positions of power. Because that's what these elitist, aristocratic corporations want. They want mercs, which are, paid mercenaries, to do their dirty work. This one's funny. The I guess the jailbird on the left and the quote unquote upstanding never do wrong cop on the right. They're both the same thing. The only thing different from them is probably their motorcycle and their clothes. But go check it out. Private charters established the precedent for a police force, and they are nothing more than standing armies, which is, we've been in a state of declared martial law since World War II, so the Constitution's been suspended. But the fact is there is no legal basis for their existence, and it's an argument of legal precedent if you go to court. All the bad guys involved in this quiet war against me and my family, you need to know that I've already sworn out criminal complaints and probable cause affidavits against you all with the Department of Justice, the FBI, Texas Rangers, Attorney General, etc. So, you think you're bad? You think you can throw something at me that I haven't already seen? Bring it. Come on. Come get some. I dare you. Nothing you do scares me. The one thing that scares me is God Almighty. And if He pulls His rug of protection out from under me. I am a righteous man, and I will stand up to you, and I will fight you all. Mortal combat to the death. So, you think you got what it takes? Bring it. Come get some. I've established some contacts within the FBI. I wouldn't call them friends. None of the corporate architecture of law enforcement or justice do I trust, since what has happened to me has happened. They all take your report, they all take your probable cause affidavit sworn out, etc., and then they sit back and do nothing because they know about this, about the secrets of this dirty church Masonic lodge. The main street in the small town that I'm outside of, the whole main street up and down about 6 miles, every business is either owned by a Mason or run by a Mason. And from my investigation into that matter, that's done by one of their hired up darlings in the Whitney Masonic Lodge by the name of Andrew Montgomery. Now, it's pretty interesting. That fella, when I went to the sheriff department to swear out my probable cause affidavits 3.5 years ago, back in March through August of 2016, this man whom I'd never met before came in and made a threat to me in front of the Sheriff Collins at that time. And he says, "We're coming after you. We know who you are and we know what you done." It's like, really? Really? So I told him, I said, bring a lot of friends. Anyway, their terror campaign against me has been going on since about November of 2011. They established a perimeter LPOP around me of 3 houses at that time. And I'll get into the machinations of that at a later time. But I've got, when I make statements, I've got at least a trifecta of physical evidence backing up my statements. So, but wicked people. You know, my grandfather was a Mason. He had a couple dairy farms up in the Northeast. You know, I'm sure at one time it was probably a good organization, but you know, now, you know, he told me, he said, don't ever join them and don't ever cross them. The one thing that keeps me going every day is that I know that all of these sons of bitches, these evil motherfuckers, excuse my profanity, but you know, sometimes a profane word is necessary to be used to describe the wickedness and despicable nature of an individual or an organization. And the one thing that keeps me going every day is that I know that there will be a judgment day and a reckoning and punishment thereafter for all these evil people that hatch their psychopathic crimes against me and my family. Yeah, I'm a Christian, and I tell you this, Jesus Christ and the grace of God is the only way that I've made it to this point. There's no way that I could have fought this level of monolithic evil by myself. There's just no way. But I want all you gangbangers to know this. There are two things are for sure certain. Everyone dies, and then you will face the judgment. You know, most of the crimes and little excursions they do under cloak of darkness, and you know, night gangsters are a real good definition of what they do, and the mask is appropriate because they're cowards. I have approached several of them, you know, crooked, out of control deputies, Matt Quinn, Brandon Worthy, Kevin McGarity, and this Andrew Montgomery. I've gotten in their face. I said, you know, why are you guys stalking me? Why are you trying to terrorize me? I said, you don't do nothing. I said, why don't you come at me straight on like a man? They won't. Every single one of them is like two north magnets trying to push them together. They dodge and weave, and then they quickly get out of your way and hop in their vehicle and drive off. Every single time. You know, and they all know it. They're all a bunch of gangsters. They abuse and violate their sworn oath of office that makes them deputy or sheriff or a you know, political position. They violate the shit out of it. And y'all are exactly that, gangsters. And I'm coming after all of y'all. You know, when I grew up, I had good parents. They were strict, but I loved my parents. I stuck by them in their sickness and when they died. You know, this picture says, united we stand and divided we fall. And what you gangsters don't realize is that you're deteriorating, you're washing away the very foundation, the fabric of morality and ethics that you live by misappropriating your power and pulling these wicked criminal events against people like me. And I'll tell you this, you will suffer the consequences. So, with that being said, again, shout out to From the Trenches World Report and Spike Timmons, who's no longer with us, but it's taken me a lot of thinking and focus to be able to attack this issue. It is so grandiose that when you start thinking about it, start making you shake in the knees. But I intend to completely and fully expose everything that's been done to me and all the players. And then from there, I will archive a master library, spread it out to the appropriate state and federal agencies. And from there, it will be archived in and for posterity. So, again, all you bandits and gangsters, you think you got what it takes? Come on at me. Be a man. Come straight on at me. I'll whoop your ass and put you down so fast you won't even know what's going on. Anyway, Patron, blessings to everybody, my subscribers, and everyone else that's offered support to me. I appreciate y'all. And stay tuned. The videos are going to be coming out in a pretty fast clip from this point forward. Y'all take care.